this seems like a sort of like from a compositional standpoint. This seems sort of like a developmental section here. It doesn't really sound like an intro. Do you want this to sort of fade in like this? Is that the way you want it to sound?
Yeah, it's really weird. I've been working on an album for months,
Uh-huh.
and I guess I'm kind of seeing this as a transition piece.
Yeah.
I'm still roughly conceptualizing the whole work, but um, I grabbed this as a in thinking that it might be a way to take all of the worst aspects of the way that I work, and I could learn a whole lot by using this as an example. So,
Do you mind if I open up a new session with some new instruments and show you how I would sort of work from left to
yeah,
right?
sure, that's great. That's fine. Yeah.
Um, because the way I work is I always start with the intro, and again, you got to understand I write mostly rock and pop music.
Yeah.
Not really. This sounds something more for like like a film or something like that. So I'll do the same instrumentation you have, some strings. Let me actually pull up Alchemy here.
Now, do you use the one of the guys that I used to work with would do the I don't know what it's called in Logic, but it sets all of the sections up. You know, the intro and the bridge and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
you can use. I just use markers. Really, is all I do.
Okay.
And I don't. I mean, I try to stick to 4, 8, or 16 bar phrases, 12 bar phrases with some stuff. Actually, let's not use Alchemy. Let's use believe it or not, Logic's like built-in sampled strings are not half bad. Let's do the. I'll just do the string ensemble. It's a little dry, but it'll do for now, just as an example.
Yeah.
Let me throw some verb in there. And then your strings are very sort of soft. They fade in a bit. I'm just going to use the, by the way, do you see my little zoom tool there?
I sure do.
Cool. I'm going to pull the attack time up on the EXS24, which is the sample instrument for this. It's just so it sort of fades in a bit more like yours did.
Okay.
There you go. I'll do that. So there's my strings. You had upright bass too. Let me just pull in an upright bass here. Strings. There you go. That was a pizzicato bass. That'll work for now. And then you had like a violin in there too, like right, like a violin solo.
Yeah.
So I'll use like an orchestral string instrument. We'll do violin. There isn't a solo instrument, so I'll have to use violin section for this. Fortunately enough, unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of stringed instruments that are really that great. I really need to. I thought about getting some of the 8Dio stuff, but God, it's like $1,000 for one instrument.
Oh, whoa.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, I'll try to mimic the sort of flow of what you're doing with yours,
Yeah.
and give you an idea of what I would do. I would let me just save this. There we go. I start off with the chords. Is the way I work. And I make sure that I have a tempo that I roughly like. And I work with mostly software instruments. I don't work with external synths. So it becomes it's a little bit easier for me to change the tempo on the fly. So I'll go with 105 is kind of what we decided before on what it was. What key was yours? What key was yours in originally?
Jeez, I don't remember. It's been quite a while since I did that.
Okay. I'll do like E flat minor is what I'll do.
Okay.
And I always start with chords. I always start. I don't know. Do you read music and everything like that, or I mean, do you have music?
I'm slowly, really
Okay.
slowly. I can read a chord chart pretty well, but notes, because I used to play cornet and French horn,
Oh, okay.
but my reading skills are in the dump.
Okay. Well, as long as you understand like what different chords are, you know. I mean, I have a master's degree in music, so I mean, I always like. And it's funny because I don't even write classical music anymore. I just write pop and rock music. But I always think of like the chords within the key. Like if you go up the scale, I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah.
that technique. And
Yeah,
like
sure.
so, like an E flat minor, you know, I've got basically 8 chords I can pick from. So I just sort of jump around between those 8 chords. I never use them that way up the scale, but I'll try things like 1, 1, 3, 7, or I'll try like 1, 4, 6, 5, or just referring to what number chord I'm on. So what I'll do is I'll try like just some strings that are like 1, 4, 6, 7. We'll try that.
Okay.
Something like that. So
Yeah, that's fine.
record that in. I'll do 2 bars per chord.
So now, how do you determine? One quick question is, how are you able to determine the actual time signature?
I mean, most of the time it's 4/4. It's just, I mean, 80% of the time it's 4. For me, 99% of the time it's 4/4 or 6/8. Period.
Yeah.
I don't do.
Yeah, I think I tend to do most of the time either 3/4 or 6/8.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we can do 6/8 too because I actually love 6/8. I really do. So let's change our time signature to,
Okay, that'd be great.
since that's something you probably do a lot. Let's see. I'll do 6. I actually, believe it or not, I liked even though like if you wrote this down on paper, it would be written as 6/8. I actually like to keep it as 6/4 because the metronome comes in on the quarter note by default. So 6/8 and 6/4 are essentially the same thing. You're just swapping out eighth notes for quarter notes.
Okay.
So sometimes instead of working in 6/8, I'll actually in the DAW it'll be 6/4. So we'll have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sort of like a rolling feeling. I love 6/8, so that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine by me.
Yeah.
So here we go. I'll play this in.
Okay.
So let's start with something like that.
Yeah.
By the way, the little bars on there, that's aftertouch. That's my keyboard's aftertouch. I'm not
Right.
using it, so let me just go to my project settings, MIDI, and I'm gonna turn off aftertouch. I always have to do this. Let's see.
Why would you why would you care if it's on?
Just in case the instrument, if I decide to swap it out to another instrument and the aftertouch is actually assigned to something, which I almost never use aftertouch. I mean, if I use aftertouch and it's an intentional thing. But for this instrument, it doesn't do anything. But I don't know. I'm OCD like that too, so it's like, oh, if it doesn't need to be there, I have to take it out. So I'll actually go into like the the hyper draw, or what do they call it now in Logic 10? The MIDI draw. Yeah, it used to be called the hyper draw. And I'll just delete the aftertouch. And now, I mean,
Okay.
I input filtered it anyway, so it doesn't need to be there, or it won't be there anymore. And then I'll let me just quantize my strings to the grid. So it's looking like quarter notes because it's every 3 bars. I played the chords as I said I was going to play them 1, 4, 6, 7, but I did some things on the very top note where I sort of like changed the top note a little bit, so sort of like some suspensions, you know.
Yeah, that was nice.
So I'm just I'll quantize it to a quarter note. There we go. We got some stuff that's kind of off. Let me just pull that over.
You chorded it. You did it to a half note.
Oh, I did a half note. Thank you. Yeah, that would be why. Quarter note. There we go. And then what I'll do is I do control. It's control backslash, and then backslash. Backslash. I believe it. Yeah, it shortens overlapping notes, and then it's control backslash, or maybe it's not back. Is it command? Oh no, that's not it either. Let's see. Hang on. Sorry. I thought it was control backslash. Maybe it's. I was playing around with my key commands the other day, so you never know.
You might have overwritten something.
Oh yeah, I overrid it by accident, I guess. It's under edit trim. You can note to remove overlaps, and then there's also it's shift backslash. Sorry, note to end following notes. It used to be called forced legato in Logic 9, and it does this. I mean, when I click on this, watch what happens. It basically just gets rid of the gaps in between the chords.
Oh.
So you don't have to go manually edit them.
Okay.
I still have to do some manual editing because these bottom chords, it tried to shorten them. So I'm just gonna use bar mode. Pull these all forward. There we go. Okay. Let me just see what that sounds like now. Release time, or the attack time, is a little too slow now. Pull it down a bit. And then what I'll do is if I really want to be cheesy and make the most out of this, I could just hit like Command R and just repeat it as many times as I want. But
right.
that's like a 4-chord pop song. Let's do something a little more interesting. So I'll Command R at once, but then I'll like alter it. You know, I'll like use this as like a motive. Maybe I'll do, instead of going from, let me just zoom in here. Instead of going from B flat up to D flat here, like a 7th chord, maybe I'll go up to E or something, or E flat. So if you hit Option up, you can just jump the note around wherever you want it to go.
Right.
The next chord is I believe it's an A flat chord, A flat major chord. So what I can do here is I'm going to find another note in A flat, which is the A flat chord's A flat, C, E flat. Let me just pull the velocity up on this a little bit here. I'm sorry, I don't know if it looks jerky on your end, if I'm working too fast or anything.
No, that's fine. I realize there's a little delay, but it's fine.
Okay, let's see what this sounds like. Oh, you know what? It's A flat minor, not major, so it's not C. It should be B, or C flat technically. But there's already a C flat there, so let me make this like a 7th or something, or it's not really a 7th. It'd be an added 4th, which would be an added 11th. And then maybe I'll do like, I'll shorten this note. And I'll duplicate it and just pull it up here. I'm just trying to make a variation on the original idea.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing like, like a high note.
Yeah.
Let's pull the velocity up. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to pull this out so that idea is there. And I'm missing a note, aren't I? D flat, D flat, D flat, A flat, D flat. I'm missing the 3rd, which is F. So let me throw the F in there. Okay. So we've got like our motive number 1 and then like motive number 2, but it's really one big motive, you know. But the second motive is a variation of the first one. So let's hit J and join them together. Let's see what that sounds like. And another thing I might do here is I'm going to shorten this chord in half this way. And I'm going to, instead of just landing on 7, which is D flat, I'm going to land on 6, which is C flat or B. So I'm going to duplicate all this over and down. Let's see what that sounds like. There you go. So we get like some motion back up to the 1 chord.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then I can repeat that. So that's like our main string idea.
Okay.
So like to me, like I like the idea of like an intro. You know, like the intro could be these strings just by themselves with maybe a little bit of like a violin idea on top of it. But then when you get to the first verse or whatever you want to call it, the first like section other than the intro, then the bass hits. You know,
okay.
So I'm gonna save the bass until over here. So what I'll do is this is going to be our intro. So I just put the playhead where I want it, and click here. I go to marker, click here. Double click on the marker. I'll just call this intro.
Oh, okay.
And you can use the it's the greater than, less than symbols or the period and comma to sort of jump around by bar.
Oh, okay.
And you can also, if you hit shift while you do that, you can jump 8 bars at a time.
Oh, okay.
So I'll hit another marker here, and I'll just call this like verse 1. There we go. The verse let's say the verse is double the intro. We'll just double that over. And I'll create some sort of a little intro melody here. Let's see. I go up. Well. I'll figure something out. I mean,
do you find it challenging to get the right articulation when you're using a keyboard to do something like a violin?
Yeah, the problem is that the sample-based instruments they're one articulation, really, is what they are. So at least in the sample world, it's like I have to use the modulation wheel to like switch between articulations, and that's if I'm lucky, if the instrument has that.
Yeah.
I mean, so what I'll find myself doing is I'll have like a legato, my violin legato track, and then I'll choose one of the other patches that's like a different articulation, like the staccato or the pizzicato or tremolo or trill or whatever. So I'll end up having like 4 tracks up there with 4 different articulations, and I'll cut up the regions. And for the staccato stuff, I use the staccato instrument. For the legato stuff, I use the legato instrument, and then I am rendering them to audio as like a complete instrument. Which actually let's do that, because I want staccato. I don't want trill. I think I accidentally clicked the trill, but I don't want trill, but I want the legato and staccato in there. So let me choose legato for 1, and this will be staccato violin. So yeah, I find myself recording everything on 1 track, but then splitting down the notes that are different articulations. So let's do staccato. So like, yeah, the staccato. But I'll play the melody in on the legato track, and I'll just split down the different articulations. The only thing I gotta do is I gotta make sure that the reverbs match, because it'll sound weird. I want more reverb than that. I'm going to copy the reverb over. There we go. You just hold Option to duplicate. How long have you been using Logic for?
Oh, gosh. Not very long. Okay. Maybe, well, I used mostly Logic 9, I guess, for maybe 2 years. And then I just got Logic 10. I don't know. I guess it was about springtime.
Okay.
So I kind of, and a long time ago I had Performer by Mark of the Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
and I used that a lot when I had. That was decades ago.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, I was just wondering if I was like, if I'm telling you key commands that you're like, oh, I know all these. By the way, you can colorize your markers up here. Again, it's not really that important. I mean, some people just hate any organizational things. I like being really organized, so I'll always like show my colors, and I'll colorize like my intro.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I'm very OCD like that. I want everything to be nice and organized. So that's just the way
Well,
I
I
am.
think if you've got a real complex composition, I think it really
Yeah.
provides extra value.
Yeah. So I'll just improvise like a main melody here, a main motive, if you will.
Sure.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I got some overlapping notes. Let me go up an octave. Let me try that same thing up an octave. A similar thing. I almost feel like... Hang on. Maybe I should pull all these down an octave. There you go. But I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this trick. If you open up... Well, first of all, you can open up multiple MIDI clips if you drag over all of them and then double click.
Right.
If you hit Z, it auto zooms everything to fit the window.
Oh.
And then if you hit Command A, it selects it all, obviously. But if you hit Shift Option up or down, it'll bump the whole thing up or down an octave.
Oh, sweet. That's nice.
So let's see what these sound like as low strings. There we go. So that's the register on these other strings is going to be a lot lower. So my violin melody will actually come through when I try to play it in this time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was washed out.
Yeah, it was getting really washed out. So let's try that. Let me try that. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I was giggling because I was thinking, you write a lot of pop songs, and I was thinking maybe you could use this for an intro to your piece, to one of your pop songs.
Oh, yeah, I should.
People are going to think, oh, no, he's going classical on it.
Well, the funny thing is I have a million classical pieces that I wrote years ago. They just haven't done anything for me, So let me just quantize this too. It looks like I'm thinking there's like some latency issues too with me playing. I think it's eighth notes. I'm looking at that doesn't need to be there. Oh, there is at 1/16. Okay. I'm gonna do 18th or 18ths. I'm gonna do 8. Yes, 18th notes. I'm gonna do 8th notes. There we go. And then let me play with the mix a little bit. It's a little loud. I'm just gonna pan the violin a little off to the left, the strings a little off to the right. That note right there just doesn't sound right to me with that chord. That was that extra chord we added in. It was B flat. Well, that's in the key, or B. B, D sharp, F sharp. Let's try F sharp instead. The other thing is these two notes got incorrectly quantized because I used an eighth note. There we go. I like that. There's the Jurassic Park theme right there. So let's see. What I'm going to use is, I don't know if you remember the key commands I just said earlier, but the backslash, shift backslash.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use backslash to get rid of the overlap. Do you see that? It gets rid of the overlap.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna hit shift backslash to sort of get rid of the gap. But I only want to do it on the notes that aren't staccato. So backslash, shift backslash. But sometimes you can leave an intentional gap though. Almost like if they picked up the bow for a second, you know.
Right.
So let's do backslash, shift backslash. And then all this, I believe, can be backslash, shift backslash. So here's what I do. Because of the whole articulation issue, I'll take this, the main idea here that I just played in. I'll duplicate it down to the staccato track. And I'll take everything out of the legato track that's staccato, which is this right here. Bum 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 bum. That part. These two notes right here, and there's this little ba-da-dum right here. I don't know if that's gonna sound good or not, but we'll try it. And then in the staccato track, I'll take out everything that's legato. Let's see, we'll do that. Do that. And I may have to play with the velocity a bit too, but let's see what this sounds like. Again, we're envisioning both of these tracks as like one instrument, really.
Right.
I don't know if you also, another thing I always do, I don't know if you've noticed, but I never start my session on beat 1, bar 1. I started always on bar 2. It just, it leaves a little bit of room for whatever you need to do there.
Yeah.
Let's pull this, the pan -9 on this one. I just don't want the staccato one to sound like it's in a different position than the legato one. There we go. Let's see what that sounds like. I don't really like the bum 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 bum. That really sounds like Jurassic Park. Bum 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 bum. Let's try B. That's the note, the chord note. Oh, that's just weird. Let's try E flat. That's E flat was the problem note though. You know what? Let's try this. Bum 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 bum. Let's try that. Yeah, let's try that. There we go. I also think the little dun 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 it's too fast. I want it to sound a little more rubato. So what I'm going to do is intentionally take it off the grid. It's always a problem with strings, is trying to make them sound real. So I'm just going to take them, I'm going to make them intentionally off the grid.
Yeah.
I could go further than that if I wanted to. Let's maybe try like there. Let me change the grid lines. Well, I guess I'm gonna be back on the grid, but let me go to not 24th notes, 32nd notes. Here we go. I'll try that. Yeah, that sounds good. And then I'm just gonna add one little note on the end. It's just like a fade out. Da-da-da. And what do we end on? down the fifth of the key. So that would be B flat as the fifth of E flat. And we'll just sort of like fade that out. And we'll pull the velocity way down on that one. Now, what I eventually would want to do with this is draw in some automation, just to fade that note out. But I usually save the automation for the very end. I'll just do it there for now. But normally I would save that for the end. I don't like writing automation in at this point. So then we can like finally pull our bass in here at verse 1. Pull my keyboard down an octave or two. Because you gotta hit the sort of almost like a swinging idea with the bass. But dun ba dun 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 boom.
Yeah.
And what was my next chord? I'll try to play something like that in. You can almost hardly hear the bass at all. Let me just pull the reverb out a touch. Oh, attack time's all the way down. Okay. Let me try pulling out the drive on the filter here. That sort of fits a little bit better. If you hear some rattling in the background, one of my speakers is like, I need to replace. There's like a rattle issue. I don't know what the deal is. I need to replace it. But,
yeah, I've got a set of monitors like that.
Like they're good monitors, but there's just like a rattle like in two of the pieces. I need to go in there and like put some putty or something in the cracks or something. So let me see what I can do with this bass.
Okay.
I messed up on the end. Let's see. Let me just solo the bass. That's right. That was that extra chord that was B flat or C flat. Well, that's a problem too because the bass doesn't actually normally go that low. I think that's outside of the. Is that outside the bass's range? Oh no.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, the E up here is technically the bottom of the bass's range. Again, that's another thing. Like, do we choose to actually conform to the normal range?
Yeah.
Let's try that. So I'm basically outlining, instead of going down to B here and then D sharp, F sharp, what's the chord, I'm doing B here, going down to the fifth and then up to the third. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to quantize the velocity of all of these. Because some of them, like the high notes, I accidentally hit them harder, and first they're making my speaker rattle, but they're also, they're just a little too loud. I always use under functions, the MIDI transform window all the time to like do batch MIDI processing. So I'll choose something like fixed velocity. And then let me pull the screen over here. Here we go. Don't worry about what everything really looks like, but if you just use one of these presets, you just type in what velocity you want. Let's say 100, and you hit operate while everything is selected, and then all the notes are quantized to 100, a velocity of 100. Let's look at this from a swing perspective too. I'm changing my view to 12th notes, just 8th note triplets, because the way I'm playing is it's dome, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. It's like sort of swung.
Yeah, yeah.
So let me quantize this to a 12th or an 8th note triplet, I should say, 12th note. Let's see what that sounds like. Like that one, I'm gonna do like that. Oh, you know, it's I was just off there. Dun dun dun. I think I just played. And then the last chord is actually D flat. We're getting down in the out of the range of the bass here. I mean, if we really, really wanted to be picky, we could just we could take these D flats and bump them up an octave. I think we'll assume we have a 5-string upright bass, which is incredibly rare, but okay. That's the power of MIDI. All right, let me just hear what this sounds like with everything in there. Then I'm gonna pull down the string, the arco strings a bit, and just listen to hear more of the pizzicato bass in there. Let's go back to the beginning. It just repeats.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things about the string, the melody we created, was because the bass is swung, we really should keep that swung feeling throughout. And so the violin melody should really have that swung feel instead of a straight feel. So these little bum 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 should really be bum 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 bum.
Right.
So let me try doing 8th note triplets here instead of why is it, hang on, 8th note triplet, why is it doing that? Okay, well, whatever, we'll just pull it over. Bum 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 bum. There we go. Of course it quantizes in the wrong direction. Actually, you know what? Here's I'm forgetting stuff. If you choose, instead of choosing a triplet, because there's really kind of a difference between a triplet and swing. If you actually choose an 8th note swing value, it should, yeah, there we go. It should actually do it correctly. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but when you quantize with these swing values,
yeah,
an A is like a straight 8th note. A B is a little bit longer than an 8th note. A C is a little bit longer than that. A D is a little bit longer than that. So 8 swing E is actually perfectly, well, it didn't work there, but is actually perfectly on the grid swing. But if you choose 8th note D, it's like slightly off the grid swing, like the way a musician would actually play it. So it swings it, but it you'll see that the note's slightly ahead of the grid line.
Uh-huh.
So Let's see.
I think you covered something like that in one of your tutorials.
Yeah, like one of the quantizing ones. Let's see. And this one I'll just bum bum bum. Is what I'll do. There we go. We'll do that. Let's do that. That probably will fit the motive better, the swing motive better. So I want to take this idea, this little bum 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 bum. I want to make that a motive, like as part of the song.
Ah, okay, right.
So we're just stealing ideas from our own song, basically.
Right.
I'm gonna copy this out and put it over here. Let's see what that sounds like. And then we'll have to copy in the bum 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 bum. Copy in this part. And then I'm gonna duplicate it over here too, like at the end, so it does it twice instead of just once. Oh, you know, I probably need to... Yeah, I need to copy more of that, don't I? Let's copy more. I'll just copy... Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll just copy all of that over. There we go. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this whole idea. I'm gonna move it over. But what I'm gonna do is when we get to here, I'm gonna copy the bum 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 over. Again, to me, it's like I don't know. Like I said, I write pop music, so it's like this is like a cool little pop motive to me.
Yeah.
Let's pull that back. Let's pull that back. Let's see what that sounds like. And we can throw that, I'm going to take the automation out just for now. Use my automation select tool. Drag over all that, get rid of it. Turn off the automation. And then I'm just going to copy this whole idea over with the marquee tool. There we go. So like it's like this is like a complementing idea, but it's not like the, so we're like, again, we're recycling our own material. For me personally, I'd like to hear some drums in this. You know, I don't know what you wanted with yours, but maybe just some like down tempo. Let's try a drum kit designer here. There's like a jazz or brush kit or something. Actually, you know what we could use? We could use drummer. Have you played around with drummer at all?
Yeah, I was a little bummed because they don't have any jazz stuff in there.
Oh, really? That's what I was looking for.
You can do some swing stuff with what they have and move some of it around to get sort of close, but there's no not the traditional thing that you'd expect.
Yeah. Let me try some like R&B stuff and see what that sounds like. It's like totally straight, super straight.
That's great.
Let's see. Well, there is a swing option. We can swing the 8th. We'll swing the 8th here.
Good idea.
Let's find a different patch here. I'm looking for slow stuff. Let's see, alternative. Let's try changing the drummer. I may just end up playing my own thing in here, but I just figured I'd try it out just for ease of use.
Yeah, it might be fast and easy.
Oh yeah. No, we don't want that. Okay, we'll just put our own thing in here. Whoop whoop whoop! Didn't mean to delete that. Okay, I'll just use the drum kit designer as a plugin, and then I'll use like one of the more kind of retro sounding kits. There you go. I'm not very good at playing in hand drums, but I'll try. Let's see. Believe it or not, I played drums in a jazz trio back in college.
Oh yeah.
We weren't very good, but
you had a lot of fun though, I bet.
oh yeah. Trying to find like a really soft. Yeah. There we go. There's my hand drums. I'll give that a shot. See what that sounds like. I'll cut that out. Pull this up. Sometimes I have like with jazzy drums like this, I have a problem with quantizing them because they don't sound real anymore, but we'll try the 8D swing and see what that does. Throw some verb on there. If you get a chance to get your hands on this reverb, this is the Lexicon it's the Lexicon PCM reverbs. They're really, really, really good. They're modeled after the hardware units of the 80s and 90s, or digital reverb units. They're really, really good. All right, let's see what that sounds like. So I would probably, if this is a pop tune, that would be it for the verse right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of slow. So
yeah.
People are gonna get bored. So let's throw like either like a bridge or like a chorus in here. And so I'll sort of like try to turn around the chord progression in some way, instead of the. Sometimes what I'll do in the chorus is I will, instead of starting on the one chord, the key of the song, which is E flat for us right now, I'll try to start somewhere else, like maybe like 6.
It seems. Are you hearing like a tempo change also?
I don't, in pop music, I never do tempo changes. Not
is that right?
Not in the middle of a song, no. It's extremely uncommon.
Okay.
I mean, in jazz and classical music, it's very, very, very common. But in pop music and rock music, it's almost almost unheard of to have like a tempo change. Maybe a time change. You can do a meter change. I've done like 6/8 to 4/4 or 4/4 to 6/8, but it's very uncommon. At least from what I've done, it's very uncommon to do a tempo change.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm gonna do is instead of 1, 4, 6, 7, I'm gonna do 6, 7, 3, and then 6, 7. I'm gonna do 6, 7, 3, 5. Is what I'm gonna do. Is just to sort of turn it around. So again, the same thing. I'm just gonna start with the chords. Do something like that. And then we'll just quantize those last 4 chords. I didn't realize it would attach it to the other clip. That must be a new thing. Because normally it would just create its own little clip. So quantize to, say, quarter note. Quantize to quarter note. Do the backslash, shift backslash thing. Pull out the other notes. We'll try, there we go. There we go. I'm going to make these a little more, the velocities on these a little more consistent, just a little more loud too. I don't know if you know that trick either. If you use the velocity tool and you hold Option while you drag up and down, it'll conform them all to the same velocity.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
And then I'm also going to duplicate the bass, because I only played the bass with my left hand 1 note at a time. I'm going to duplicate that down an octave just to double up the bass. So again, just holding Option. There you go. Let's.
I just noticed we're way over time, Josh. I don't want to be chewing into more time for you.
Oh, it's fine. Let me do some of the chorus, and then we'll stop there.
Okay.
And then we can call it a day. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these chords, I'm going to shorten them all a little bit. So there's like some intentional space. Come on. It's one of those weird things. If you want to turn off the grid, you have to grab it, then hold Control to turn off the grid. You can't hold Control before you grab it. I always forget that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Then I'll just duplicate this whole section. Let me throw the bass in there. I'll try to do the same thing. I'll try to sort of swing it. That was up an octave though. Let me try that again. Let me pull my keyboard down an octave. What was my second chord again? It was 7. Sorry, I kept playing the wrong chord there.
Yeah. Quantize that.
gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do that swung D, eighth note swung D, and hopefully that sounds good. And I think I did with the transform window. What did I do? 100, I think, last time. There we go.
Yes.
And then let's cut that out. Duplicate that. I really could just take the same drum idea if I really want to.
Yeah.
Let's see what the whole thing sounds like. Then we'll wrap up. And the only thing that's really weird here, and again, this sort of depends on your level of your theory understanding, but the 5 chord I use is a major 5 chord. It's called a dominant 5, and the chord that's being played at that point is it's B flat D F, but in the melody I have D flat instead of D. And it's one of those situations where you can go in, and it's an altered chord is what it is. And it ends up sounding better when you go with an altered note in your melody even. So just for the chorus, all of my D flats should really be Ds instead of D flat because it fits with the chord, the 5 chord that's there. What I'll do is I'll just alter. I don't know if you caught that, but I was copying stuff over while I was playing.
Yeah.
Let me just pull this up here. Oh, not that. Let's try that. There we go. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, we got like basically the working opening of a song here. We've got intro, verse, and chorus. We could throw a bridge on here, like a 4-bar bridge. Go back into the verse, maybe change up the verse a little bit, repeat the chorus again, then put an outro, and you got yourself a pop song. Really, what I would want to throw on here is like some piano. Like to me, I'm hearing like an Adele song, you know, like something that's not really jazz, but sort of like the pop, cheesed down version of jazz, you know. And throw a little piano on here. Maybe actually bring a real drummer in to play the drum beat, you know, instead of using like a software instrument, and you know, like repeat the verse and chorus one more time. And then write some lyrics to it that really, like, you know, write a hook to it that really sounds good and throw it on top of there. I think it would work out okay.